and good to have you with us in the 9 p.m. edition of the Urban Debate. We're going to continue with the conversation on Bihar, but now put the spotlight on what the Bihar verdict, in fact, even the verdict of the bipolls across the country really means for national politics. Here are some talking points that I will be raising in this conversation. The fact is that the Bihar verdict has definitely strengthened the BJP, and this sets the stage for, as the preparations now begin, for the next set of state elections. The crucial Bengal elections, there's also elections in Assam, Tamil Nadu, but of course this will give a big boost to the BJP going into the West Bengal election. A clear sign of that was the fact that Prime Minister Modi, in the victory speech for Bihar verdict, mentioned the political killings taking place in West Bengal and sent a direct warning on that. It's also electoral validation for the BJP. Despite the ongoing economic crisis, despite what many say is the pain that people have gone through during the lockdown, his PM's popularity seems to still be a winning card, and the central government schemes and the central government's work still seems to have a lot of support, which is reflective even in the state elections. This also reinforces Adityanath's image as the star campaigner. He's campaigned in the past in several other states, but the results and the impact of that has been very, very clear in Bihar. Possibly will strengthen his position as well going into West Bengal elections. Another election where it shows that Congress is becoming a big liability for anybody that it allies with, for any of its allies, at least in pre-poll alliances. Post-poll, if they want to tag along and give their share of seats somewhere to form governments, just like in Maharashtra, that's a different set of, that's a different matter altogether. It does raise questions again about Rahul Gandhi's return as the party chief. Many were already talking about a possible return by the end of this year, maybe early next year, but based on what? Bihar election is definitely not something that can be used. And of course, we will also talk about the boost for left parties ahead of, again, the key Bengal elections. So let's say good evening to the panelists who are joining us right now. Guru Prakash Paswan, National Spokesperson for the BJP. Anshul Avajit, National Spokesperson for the Congress Party. Chitranjan Gagan, Spokesperson for the RJD. Mr. Deshratan Nigam, RSS supporter, joining us this evening. Atul Anjan, National Secretary of the Communist Party of India. And of course, with me in the studios, our managing editor of Mirror Now. Good evening to everybody. Vinay, let's start with you. For you, the biggest takeaway or impact that you see for the national politics?
Three things, I think. Number one, this election now signifies the end of the NDA. There is no NDA. It's really about, it's really just BJP. And I think the word phrase NDA really has no significance left anymore. That is part one. Part two, I think one other myth has been broken, and that myth, it wasn't a myth, it may have been a reality in certain states, but I think the much famed tactical votings by the Muslims or the minorities has taken a bit of a drubbing this time. There is no other reason why the Muslims, knowing fully well that their decision to go in with the AIMM would damage the RJD, would still go ahead and do that. And I think this means that the opposition parties, or at least the non-BJP parties, will have to now start re-looking at that as an established and assured vote bank and not do anything beyond that, because that was pretty much what RJD's politics was for a long time. Clearly, the voters do not necessarily look at it that way, at least not in Bihar. They haven't looked at it that way. That's given 5 to the AIMM. I think there is a definite concern that the Congress needs to be worried about, because now there is a perception, and whether the fact is different or not, but certainly there's now a perception that it tends to drag the allies down if they've got a large number of seats. I mean, people are already drawing examples of what happened in UP and Maharashtra, and now, of course, the Bihar, the same story seems to have repeated. And the fourth for me, which is probably, I mean, personally, I find that very, very interesting, purely as a political student, is the performance of the left. And I know a lot of people have said that the left was in an alliance, but so was the Congress. And if you see the return rate of the left party has been significantly more than what the Congress managed. And that's a very interesting point, because that is something that I believe will have some impact on what will happen in West Bengal as well. I'm not saying they will win, but I'm saying that the opposition to the BJP in the state might see a little bit of a change going forward.
Okay, so let's break it down now and bring in our other panelists as well on this conversation. Guru Prakash Paswan, to the point that it increasingly looks like the BJP barely needs any allies across states. You've now managed to even become the bigger player, the more important player in Bihar. Your response to that?
No, no. I agree when you say that we have emerged as a bigger player, but at the same time, Tanvi, I would also like to tell you that this term Gadbandhan Dharma or coalition dharma was institutionalized or brought to the political lexicon of the country by the BJP itself. If you look at the history, even in 2005, BJP had larger number of legislators, but our commitment of going under the leadership of Nitish Kumar, regardless of his party having lesser number of MLAs, he was made the chief minister. And same goes for this time as well. There is no controversy, there is no unease as being flagged by a certain section of media. Our leadership is sorted. And you should also realize that the top leadership of the party, when the Honorable Prime Minister himself, when the party national president himself, when the unit minister himself has said that it is going to be the leadership of Shri Nitish Kumar. They have repeatedly reasserted their faith in his capacity of leadership, of clean governance, of corruption-free governance in the last 15 years, and of advancement in terms of multiple socio-economic indicators data which we have. So we might have emerged as a single largest party, but still, I think the coalition dharma is extremely important for us.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Mr. Guru Prakash. Has the coalition dharma's definition changed? Is it now about destroying the coalitions that are formed to beat BJP? Because what we see is every time all kinds of parties come together to take you on, you simply end up destroying them. I don't see any allies left except the JDU. And like Vinay repeatedly points out, Mr. Ramdas Athawale.
That could be your perspective, but I don't see any such design. And it's just a matter of difference of opinion, but I don't see. There was a time when Atal Bihari Vajpayee's NDA-1 was a coalition of more than 22 political parties.
Of course.
So I don't see that. We are not only Vishwa ka sabse bada dal, but we are also a dal with sabse bada dil. So there is no question of damaging the rallies. We believe in Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas, and that not is just a slogan, but a commitment for all of us.
Mr. Dr Nigam, do you want to weigh in on this specific aspect about the BJP and its equation with its allies where successfully either you've not needed them and gotten rid of them, or you've reduced them to a place where you get to call the shots?
See, it is not about whether BJP is or not. It is about inclusive politics. And if you look at the kind of, parties and other really means, as Prime Minister today himself said, that this is the only party which carries the national aspirations and local aspirations together. So BJP is clearly aware of the local aspirations and the regional aspirations on the ground, as well as the national aspirations. So that's a combination, a very effective combination, and that is why you see these coalitions with the smaller parties which are there and which sails through, because nobody wants to touch these parties, and that is where micromanagement of the strategy of elections comes into the play, and that is where BJP, as Guru Prakash clearly pointed out, dil and dal both go together, and it's a popular phrase. But I believe the BJP believes in the inclusive politics. Yes, if you want to confront BJP, you want to take BJP, on in the elections, you have to be very careful, because BJP will then, obviously, it is electoral competitive politics. They will destroy you in elections.
Let me, in fact, ask Anshul Avajit on this. Anshul Avajit of the Congress Party, you have the experience of taking on the BJP across the country, more often than not failing in this current period. But what's your own sense? BJP by itself is enough. They don't need any more friends.
No, I think what has happened is, I think Vinay was absolutely right, but this happened a long time back, that the NDA is collapsing under the weight of its own contradictions. And the problem with the NDA is, or rather the BJP is that the sheer hubris of the party disallows any kind of harmonious functioning with any kind of allies. Now, we saw it in Maharashtra. We again saw it in Punjab. And I mean, we've repeated this very often, but I'm not tired of repeating it. And then we've seen it in the case, the peg right now is Bihar, and we've seen it again in Bihar, where you've alienated a crucial ally. You've distributed the vote, the anti-incumbency vote. So the problem with the BJP is just simply cannot take anyone along with itself. It fails to evolve a consensus, not just within its allies, but throughout the country as a whole, because the way the farmers' bills, the way other bills are pushed through the floor of the parliament, without any consensus, without any debate, without any discussion, just goes to show the sheer magnitude of the arrogance that the BJP possesses. I want to talk a little bit about Bihar here, because we just now heard Tanvi, short while back, the Prime Minister give that speech. I mean, most of it was empty rhetoric that we've heard from the Prime Minister many times over. But one particular line that really pierced through the Delhi winter air was कि बिहार ने में सच जीता है. I mean, nothing could be further from the truth कि बिहार में सच जीता है, because this victory was a victory that was stolen out of malfeasance, out of deceit. We were discussing this last night. A lot of people in the panel last night on this very channel scoffed at the very idea, but I believe it to be very real, where the administration was weaponized to steal defeat away from many marginal candidates of the Mahagathbandhan.
Congress party still believes so. We haven't heard anything officially all day long. We thought you had given up on whatever that fake bogey was that you all were trying to float yesterday.
Bogey, Tanvi, I'm constantly speaking to candidates over there.
Where is the evidence?
This was a very tight election, by the way.
Where is the evidence?
There were a few seats that were up for grabs that could have gone either way. I am repeatedly saying that those seats, because the administration was hand in glove with the Sarkar over there, completely reversed the verdict. So I stand by what I'm trying to say. Of course,
let me ask Chitranjan Gagan, since his party leader and his party was leading this entire array of charges, and frankly, we even struggle to understand what exactly was the problem. Mr. Gagan, are you still sticking by that stand that you have not lost because people gave more votes to NDA, but because there was some foul play?
बिल्कुल सही आप कह रही हैं. बिहार में जीत हुई है और प्रशासन के चूक करके ऐसे कम से कम 11 सीट ऐसे पहले डिक्लेयर कर दिया गया जीत गए, लेकिन उसके मुख्यमंत्री का निर्देश मिला, उन्हें सर्टिफिकेट नहीं देकर.
मिस्टर चित्रांजन गगन, आई एम सॉरी, आपका ऑडियो बिल्कुल क्लियर नहीं है, आवाज बार बार कट रही है. मैं थोड़ा ही समझ पा रही हूँ कि आप क्या कह रहे हैं. वी आर गोइंग टू ट्राई एंड पैच दैट लाइन, बट I find this very appalling, Vinay, and this cannot be taken so lightly. The attempt to cast a shadow of doubt and suspicion in the minds of people where things are so clearly transparent and in absence of any evidence isn't right.
Look, I think we are hardwired to respond to evidence, and we should only cast aspersions on the basis of attributable hardbound evidence. Elections is a process, and I think the Mahagathbandhan in Bihar is confusing between third-hand versions, fourth-hand versions, hearsay, and some bit of misunderstanding of the process of how counting happens. The process is very simple, and the process, ironically, the process is actually very transparent if only the parties took that process seriously. Inside the counting station, every single candidate whose name is on the EVM is allowed to have an election agent inside. Now, whether some people are there or not there, that is the party's inefficiency, that the EC cannot be held responsible for that. But then they're allowed. Now, after the EVM strong room is opened in front of party candidates, agents. Once it is opened, the EVM is brought out on the table. The markeen ka kapda, as they call it, which is used to seal it, is removed. The lock which is there to stamp it is removed. The EVM is shown to the agents, and a master switch is pressed that gives you the count, much like a calculator will give you the count of different candidates. Once that count is displayed on the screen, this is entered in a physical form. It's a paper form which is signed by the RO and is supposed to be countersigned by the representatives of the political parties. In every election, agents of candidates have raised objections after every round if they found something wrong. The difference from ballot paper to EVM now is that in EVM you can only really retabulate. You cannot recount, because once the press button is pressed, the counter is done. I am unable to understand what exactly is the specific complaint. Because after every round, that form is signed. It is signed by the RO and it is countersigned by the agents as well.
Correct.
Now, if after 20, 25, 30, 40 rounds, there was no problem, at what stage did the problem come? And if it did, what is the exact nature of the problem? I have not been able to, most of the answers that I've got is कि हमारे candidate ने कहा कि मैं आगे था. That's not evidence in law. The evidence in law is कि form के ऊपर क्या दिख रहा था. And अगर form के ऊपर दिख रहा था, तो क्या उसके ऊपर signature था या नहीं था? That is the only evidence.
Anshulavji.
Now, sorry, just one other line before
Yes.
Anshu responds. The one other issue that was raised by the RJD yesterday, the EC clarified it. The issue was that they said that the returning officer said, we want to do a recounting. The EC clarified it that in 2018, a law was passed which said that if the margin of victory of a candidate is less than the total number of postal ballots rejected, the RO is duty bound to recount the rejected ballots.
Yeah.
And that is why.
And that we will do if there is a requirement.
Because that is something that's mandated under process.
Okay. So, Anshulavji, please respond, and then I'm going across to Mr. Atul Anjan.
Well, very quickly, there is a doubt, the RJD pointed out over 10 seats. There is a doubt, at least in the Congress, in 4-5 seats where there was a chance of a victory over there, and the margin of loss has been quite very, very narrow. This did not happen during every single round. What happened towards the end, and the news I'm getting, and this is particularly true of Sakra, where Umesh Ram fought, and I was involved in that election throughout. I was sitting there throughout this campaign. What happened was that victory was declared. In a sense, they was told about that victory. They were in the final round, you were ahead. Then suddenly, in the final round, in the last twist, and there was a declaration that you have lost the election.
No.
This is what we are contending.
Anshu, I don't like interrupting. I'm really apologizing for it.
No, that's fine.
There is no concept of a candidate being told of a victory. That is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. The process is very clear. Nobody is told of a victory. The rounds are counted, it's filled on a form, and the candidate has to sign it, the agent. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They were ahead in the final round, and then it was reversed. So what I'm trying to tell you is not formally being told, but there was an indication that they were absolutely ahead. They had won the seat. They had announced it. And there was a reversal in that.
Okay, so here is what I am going to do.
I completely agree with you.
Fair,
I'm not disputing about the technical aspects of it.
I think we've highlighted both aspects. I think we've highlighted
which we are going to contend. I mean, this is going to go the entire process.
Yes, so that's what I was going to say. I think we've highlighted your part of the story. We've also highlighted how we see the process and it works, and the fact that there isn't any evidence presented yet. But if you say you're going to contest this and you're going to take it further, so then let's wait and watch. Once the evidence is presented or shown, because beyond this, I am also not comfortable planting that seed of doubt or suspicion in the minds of people without having enough evidence to say so. So that being said, let me go across to Mr. Atul Anjan. Mr. Anjan, the other aspect we do want to talk about is the performance of the left parties put together. Of course, you were part of a Mahagathbandhan, but help us understand what's the internal sense. How is it that you've got 16 seats? What does it mean?
Tanvi ji, few of the points which was just now discussed, I want to make a sharp, reaction onto that. I don't want to go into the technicalities, what has been, described by our honorable managing editor and all that. EC, Election Commission is supreme. I think there's no need of going to pray before them that see what is the justified and what is not justified, because they themselves have issued a very big notification for the Bihar election that the sanitizer will be used, hand gloves will be used, there will be social distancing, there is a norm for public meetings. Everything collapsed, and they witnessed. They were now talking about, the Prime Minister talking about the pandemic, great victory in the pandemic. But the pandemic, in the pandemic, ruling party, ruling people, ruling ministers, they themselves were responsible, including Prime Minister, to destroy all the directions which was given by the ECI. It is themselves, the Election Commission of India, to think what sort of orders they pass, what sort of reality takes place in the ground, and whether people should question them or not to question them, that they have to think, and they have to reanalyze themselves. As far as the local realities and the national realities are concerned, we know the realities. What ethics you are telling till other day, Hum party was here and you took him in your NDA. The other day up to the press conference, VIP party was there and you accommodated with them at the last minute. That is your reality. That is the national reality. That is the ethics of the politics. I don't want to go into that. And your oldest friend like Shiv Sena and the Akali Dal, they have left, and the new friends you have got. Actually in Delhi, there is no NDA government, only for namesake. To tell world over that we have a coalition. There is no coalition. It is a BJP RSS government at Delhi. Now, I just want to say about the left and the Mahagathbandhan. Very humbly, I want to say it is going to declare on the mirror now. First time I am going to say it. Number one, after the Bihar and all that now all political parties must think over that whether we should go with the electronic voting machine or we should go back to the old ballot system. I think this, when in the country, when 70% mobile holders do not know how to put their mobile on silence, where still in the villages and cities, people go on putting the switch on, before that they fold hand and start puja. There is no need of, EVM. We must go, if the presidential election of America can take place on the voting, on the ballot paper, we should go back that. And all political parties should think over. This is an idea which I am giving. As far as the left is concerned, in the elections, I just want to say, if the left would have got in
Mahagathbandhan, in another part of the world, in another part of the world, a country that most of with the left ideology don't really admire, but they are talking about mail-in fraud, postal ballot fraud, and you're telling us that a system that we have become so successful with, that we are pioneers in, we should abandon that. Why? So that people can start booth capturing and burning and destroying our paper ballots again. Why would we want to go back to that?
No, that was the old case. Now when we are having CCTV, everything can be known. Who is trying to misuse the ballot papers, who is trying to ballot boxes to capture that one, who wants to destroy them, who wants to put on them fire.
Sir, Atul ji, CCTV to EVM pe bhi chalta hai na, khali ballot paper pe thodi chalta hai.
Tell you one thing. No, just a minute. Listen, no, don't interrupt. I'll speak. I just listen. Listen me. I have heard carefully. In this country, अगर 5 ग्राम किसी के पास बंबई में गांजा और भांग है, तो नेशनल नारकोटिक्स ब्यूरो उसको पकड़ लेता है. इस देश के अंदर 300 kg of RDX was on the Jammu Kashmir border, and our 40 jawans were, died because of that blast. Nobody could understand from where this, till now the government of India failed, from where this RDX came. No report is there.
उससे क्या संबंध है? अभी जो आप कह रहे हैं, मैं ये नहीं समझ पाई.
If you would have contested,
नहीं, but
संबंध ये है, संबंध है, बहुत साफ संबंध है. नहीं, क्या हो रहा है देश में ये हम बता रहे हैं. What is happening in this country? I am just telling you, as far as the Bihar is concerned, election, left concerned, if we would have contested 50 seats, I tell you, there would have been a government of Mahagathbandhan. Our success rate is because we worked full-heartedly on the ground. We took up the issue of marginalized section.
ये ठीक है. ये आपने बहुत सही बात कही. इसके लिए मैं चितरंजन गगन से एक जवाब चाहूंगी. ओके, ये आपने बहुत सही बात की. चितरंजन गगन जी,
बात तन्वी जी से कही है
कि अगर आप अतुल अंजान को ज्यादा सीटें दे देते और अंशुल अभिजीत को कम, तो शायद आज आप सरकार बना लेते तेजस्वी यादव की.
नहीं, देखिए,
हम ये नहीं जानते किसको कम मिलता, लेकिन हम ज्यादा बेहतर
सरकार हमारी महागठबंधन
आज आपको बताएं जो हम जीते हैं और ये महागठबंधन जीता है.
एक मिनट. अतुल अंजन, 1 minute. Let Chittaranjan Gagan also respond to this, because I think you have a valid point. Should the RJD have given more seats to the left and definitely lesser to the Congress party and fought more by themselves, maybe Tejasvi would have been able to win. Yes, Mr. Chittaranjan Gagan, respond to that.
नहीं, वह तो सवाल ही नहीं है. सवाल यह है कि जीती हुई सीट, ऐसे भी महागठबंधन निश्चित रूप से बहुमत सीट पर वह जीत रही थी, और जीती हुई सीट को लगभग 1 दर्जन से ज्यादा सीट जो हम जीत गए थे.
नहीं, अभी वो
जीत गई थी.
ठीक है, वो हो गए पॉइंट, वो आपने बोल दिया. अब जब आप अगर इलेक्शन कमीशन के पास जाएंगे, या कोर्ट में जाएंगे
I just
और
want to-
और
I just-
एविडेंस
Tanvi,
प्रोड्यूस
I
करेंगे,
just want to
तब हम उस
make
पर
a
और
point.
चर्चा कर सकते हैं. चित्रंजन
20
गगन जी,
second point.
I don't want to
22nd
spend
point.
more time here casting doubts on a democratic process, a very transparent process, unless there is evidence. I am open to looking at the evidence. जब आप evidence लेके आएंगे तब बात ठीक है. मेरा सवाल आपसे बहुत सिंपल है. अगर मैं पार्टी वाइज रन रेट देखूं तो उसमें सबसे बढ़िया रन रेट इस बार रहा है लेफ्ट की पार्टीज का और बीजेपी का. तो सवाल आपसे ये है कि अगर कांग्रेस को 70 सीटें ना दी होती और कुछ ज्यादा आपने सीपीआईएमएल या सीपीआईएम को दे दी होती तो शायद आज तेजस्वी की सरकार बन पाती. ये एक लेसन है आरजेडी के लिए कि नहीं?
नहीं, देखिए वो मेरा अपना मैंने अंडरस्टैंडिंग था, अपना गठबंधन था, और चुनाव जहां भी लड़ी है पार्टी नहीं लड़ी है, महागठबंधन लड़ी है. जीत या हार जो भी हुआ महागठबंधन का हुआ. इसलिए हम किसी खास पार्टी को जिम्मेदार बताएं और कहें कि हाँ साहब उस पार्टी को दे दिए इसलिए हार हो गई, इसको देते तो जीत हो गई, ऐसी बात नहीं है. पूरे बिहार में महागठबंधन ईमानदारी के साथ लड़ी है और उसमें अच्छी सफलता मिली है. इतने सारे साजिश और षड्यंत्र के बाद एक जो लीडर हमारे थे चीफ मिनिस्टर के उम्मीदवार थे तेजस्वी यादव महागठबंधन के, उन पर व्यक्तिगत हमला हुआ. उन पर सारे जितना भी धन बल से लेकर जो भी कुछ संभव था सारा चीज का इस्तेमाल किया गया. प्रधानमंत्री व्यक्तिगत आक्षेप लगाए, कम्युनल आधार पर, कास्ट आधार पर समाज को बांटने के लिए, सेंटीमेंट उभारने के लिए तरह तरह की बातें की गई. लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी जिस ढंग से जनता का व्यापक समर्थन हमें मिला है उस ढंग से हम जनता को, बिहार की जनता को धन्यवाद देंगे. और कहीं न कहीं यह जनमत का अपहरण किया गया है, जनता का जो मैंडेट मिला है उसका अपहरण किया गया है इसमें उसका. और इन लोग का चरित्र रहा है. इसके पहले भी जो भी वर्तमान सरकार चल रही है जनादेश उनको नहीं मिला था. जनादेश भाजपा के खिलाफ में मिला था. लेकिन नीतीश जी जिन परिस्थिति में जो मजबूरी हो वो चले गए भाजपा के साथ. आज भी वही बात है. आज भी जो इनके मुख्यमंत्री को उम्मीदवार थे नीतीश कुमार को जनता ने, बिहार की जनता रिजेक्ट कर दिया. बिहार की जनता उनको रिजेक्ट कर दिया. उनके जो उम्मीदवार थे मैक्सिमम माने 50% से भी नीचे चले आए. जो उनकी स्थिति हुई सबसे बदतर स्थिति अगर किसी पार्टी की बिहार में हुई है तो जनता दल यू की हुई है. स्पष्ट है कि लोगों का विश्वास नीतीश कुमार पर नहीं है. लेकिन भाजपा की मजबूरी है, उनको मुख्यमंत्री मानना, क्योंकि वो उनके चरित्र से परिचित है.
नहीं, वो तो भाजपा की प्रॉब्लम है, आप उसमें ज्यादा स्ट्रेस ना ले. अब वो तो भाजपा और जेडीयू के बीच की बात है. अब लोगों ने तो फिर भी एनडीए को ही वोट दिया और अब वो 125 सीटों के साथ सरकार बनाएंगे. नीतीश जी कितने दिन चीफ मिनिस्टर रहेंगे वो तो देखने की बात है. I do want the BJP to respond to that, but Mr. Paswan, just hold on for a sec because I want Anshul Avjit to first respond to what Atul Anjan said कि अगर हम 50 सीटें हमारे पास होती लड़ने के लिए तो हम और भी जीतते. Anshul Avjit, maybe Rahul Gandhi should have given some from his kitty. Your strike rate is the worst of all.
You know, if you just look at statistics, that's the problem with statistics, Tanvi. If you look at just statistics alone, strike rate of 27, 19 seats, you know, half the picture eclipses. I mean, half the picture is absolute darkness. What you don't see is the qualitative dimension of the number of seats you fought, the degree of difficulty in fighting those some very contentious and highly difficult seats. There is a coalition dharma, there is a Mahagathbandhan, there is a seat distribution system that happens. You don't always get the seats that you want. Other parties may not get the seats they want. So the strike rate is not the way to look at it. There is no doubt वो बात भी सही है कि अगर जीत हुई और हार हुई तो महागठबंधन की हुई. I don't agree with this at all. The left were given certain seats according to the level of influence. Like the Congress was not given a single seat in Bhojpur because, Bhojpur is where the bastion of the left is, of the CPI, particularly the CPI-ML, and all this corridor which goes down to the south, which includes Karakat, Bikramganj, Arwal, Obra, Aurangabad, all the way down south. I mean, this is a particular corridor where the left dominates. They've done well, and I'm very happy for that. They already had a consistent number of seats, a dedicated number of voters that they capitalized on with the help, mind you, of the value addition which was given by the Mahagathbandhan. So it's not all about winning and losing. It is about the degree of difficulties of the seat that the Congress party fought. And mind you, another point I want to make, and since I was involved in this process from the beginning, I know what happened, that not only did the Congress fight on tough, complex seats, where there were a lot of factors, RJD could have fought on it as well, but we seem to have fought on it. It was also that many of the seats that we did well last time were actually distributed among our alliance partners. Absolutely no problem at all. I'm not making any kind of excuses for the Congress party. I am just saying that this is an explanation for what happened. There is a difference between an excuse and an explanation.
When you say the seats that you could have won and you did win on were given to your alliance partners, so who benefited? Tejasvi, RJD, or the left?
There is a certain way in which seats are distributed in a Gathbandhan. There was a COVID time. A lot of the decisions were hanging fire till the end. They were distributed. No, there are no qualms about the way they were distributed. It's just saying that because you're pointing fingers at the strike rate, I'm giving you an explanation for that.
Tanvi ji.
Yes,
I have to reply back all that.
Oh, yes, you must.
I have to reply back. I don't agree with all these things. Excuses, these are old excuses. Which area is influence and which area? I tell you, the whole Mithlanchal used to be very big, influence area of one political party. What happened to that? Big cricketers came into that party. Their father were the chief minister of that area, and they were the United Bihar's chief minister. All this. The practical is, let us not go into the past. Let us see what is happening today. And it is not the question. I said that if you would have got more seats, certainly Mahagathbandhan would have been in a position to form the government. You see the results. And then I just want to say, who benefited, Tanvi ji? You are asking all this. It is because of the non-practical approach in distribution of the seats in Mahagathbandhan. The total benefit went to the NDA, and they are forming the government.
I can only say this, Mr. Deshratan Nigam, that the loss has only led to a bit of a blame game rather than introspection.
See, the fact is, I tried not to laugh, and I was actually smiling in the debate when very lucidly it was explained by Vinay, the entire process and the law also. And that lucidity reminded me of, my submissions that I do in court, very lucidly done. And that was rubbished as a technicality, but that is a reality. And those were the ways and the process by which the elections have been conducted, very transparent. And, we saw in Delhi riots how CCTV were first attacked with the faces covered. So the entire process, of transparency has been perfected by Election Commission over the period of time through trial and experiences, and now the art has been perfected, much beyond what is happening in USA. So let us give some credit to our Election Commission, and the results, despite the COVID and every problem that the Election Commission had, they have been able to successfully deliver so far as the election is concerned. Now, various points were raised. This blame game becomes very important. Maharashtra, there was no pre-poll promise to make somebody as a CM. So Shiv Sena backed out. So far as Punjab is concerned, the farm ordinance were already in existence. They never opposed at that point of time. So when the bills came in the parliament, they started doing politics. So you could have opposed the ordinance at the original state. So that is the hypocrisy of various parties, which is already, comes in the forefront. Yes, you have to give credit to the BJP. It's a cadre-based party, and they have been able to motivate it, deliver it, and the Prime Minister coming to the ground and then, carrying the momentum forward. Nobody can deny it. His popularity is very clearly there, and elections after elections, he has been able to deliver. But apart from that, there is a pan-India sentiment for BJP. Look at all the by-elections. Prime Minister did not go there. So there is a positive sentiment for BJP at a pan-India level, which is reflected in Gujarat, UP, Madhya Pradesh, and Karnataka, in the northeast, Manipur also. So let us be very clear. During pandemic, who gave the free ration to the people? There was no, a famine kind of a situation anywhere. The money of 1,000 rupees went into the accounts of people. So various schemes, And the lockdown, yes, lockdown was, Corona was not the creation of the BJP, but the lockdown was handled. People did have difficulty, but they supported the government. And government and various schemes, as the Prime Minister said, was launched during this, Corona period, convert crisis into opportunity. That is where the BJP has an upper hand. And you must give credit to the BJP instead of blaming. And what Mahagandhi is saying, that the problems they had within themselves benefited BJP. Unless until you give credit to the BJP and look at your own issues and shortcomings, you will not be able to have a strong contest with the BJP.
Well, I think there was definitely a problem with the seat sharing formula, and perhaps the Bihar results could at least become a lesson for the next set of elections, and maybe Congress party's allies in Tamil Nadu will also have to sit and think about. I don't know what will happen in Bengal as well. In fact, let's talk about from here on and what could be the impact of this verdict, the learnings from this verdict going into the next set of elections. Mr. Guru Paswan, let's start with you. Prime Minister has also sent a very clear message today from the victory stage, from his victory address to Mamta Didi about the political killings. So are we now going to utilize this sentiment going into West Bengal elections?
Tanvi ji, I was patiently listening to the observations raised by my fellow panelists, and I'm reminded of a quote by Swargीय Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. He said, "हम विजयी हुए हैं, हममें विनम्रता है, पराजय में तो आत्ममंथन होना चाहिए." तो आत्ममंथन के स्थान पे विपक्षी दलों में क्या चल रहा है हम लोगों ने देखा। अभी अतुल अंजान जी ने 2 प्रश्न उठाए थे, मैं उसको रिस्पॉन्ड करना चाहूंगा आपके प्रश्न के आने से पहले।
जी।
Ham was brought, VIP was brought. Ham leader, Shri Jitan Ram Manjhi ji, comes from Musar community. VIP leader, Shri Mukesh Sahni ji, comes from Mallah community. So treating them as an object, not giving them dignity as an individual, as a respectable leader, is something which I find really offensive. And that is reflective in the results as well, that the way they have treated their allies, be it Upendra Kushwaha ji, Jitan Ram Manjhi ji, Mukesh Sahni ji. And he also raised a point about CPI being a relevant force in Bihar. I would also like to draw his attention towards the tension which was brewing between CPI and the student wing of CPI, the ISF. This was the first time in the history of elections in Bihar that the student wing of CPI was going to fight against the CPI. The AISF was fighting against the CPI, but it was controlled well in time. It was the same EVM Atulji in 2004 that gave you more than 60 MPs, the maximum you have had ever in the political history of the country. So this is something which is very sorted, and I would agree with what Deshratanji said, that even in the time of COVID pandemic, the Prime Minister of the country led from the front. He imposed a lockdown, being mindful of the fact that there are going to be economic implications. Initially, when there were lack of PPE kits, but in the due course, we were exporting PPE kits. We were extending pharmaceutical cooperation as well. In terms of health diplomacy, hydroxychloroquine, paracetamol, so developed countries in Europe, America, Brazil for that matter, even they sought cooperation and we helped. So in the emerging post-COVID world order, I see India playing a very decisive role, and the global power axis that has now decisively shifted in the Indian Ocean region with the geopolitics changing as well. India is going to play a very significant role not only in the politics of region, but the global politics as well. As far as the question is concerned about this implication of national politics, I would again go back to the observation of Dr Nigam ji that the bypolls which were conducted across, be it Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, they have decisively voted in the favor of BJP. Look at the vote percentage. Look at the number of seats. It only establishes one thing, that when our leadership says, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas, be it from any caste, any gender, any region, any religion, we don't make any distinction on any basis. This is the politics of convenience, which unfortunately the Congress party has institutionalized in the politics of the country. If CBI is getting inconvenient, raise question on CBI. If Election Commission is getting inconvenient, raise question on Election Commission. These are constitutionally mandated authorities. I don't know what would Baba Sahib Ambedkar would have thought had he been alive today. Visionary people drafted the constitution of this country. Every time you raise a question on
Right. Okay, you made a very interesting point. Let me get Atul Anjan to respond to that. Mr. Anjan, fact of the matter is that across bipoles, BJP has only strengthened its position. In a year when the COVID lockdown has brought in so much of pain and struggle for people, in a year where our economy is down in the dumps, if there is a resounding victory coming for the BJP, that should sound extremely concerning for you and for all the other parties as well.
Tanvi, I just want to say very interesting points have been raised by my BJP panelist, and as usual, all the time they discuss Hindu, Muslim, Hindu, Muslim, Hindu, Muslim. The same way when I raised this question of Hum and the VIP party, they use the caste point.
Hindu Muslim,
that I'm making some
if I missed something.
comments on the caste because
I'm sorry, Tanvi. Tanvi, did I say Hindu Muslim?
Listen,
Yeah.
I understand.
No, but Atul Anjan, I was wondering if I missed something that Guru said here.
मैंने आपकी बात में बोला नहीं,
पर
मैंने
उन्होंने-
आपकी बात में बोला नहीं,
मैंने
अब
हिंदू
आपको
मुस्लिम
लग
बोला कहाँ है,
गई,
तन्वी जी?
आपका काम ही यही है कि आप धर्म और जाति का
यहाँ
सवाल
इतने
उठाकर
सारे लोग बैठे
लोगों में
हैं,
विद्वेष
चितरंजन
पैदा
जी बैठे हैं,
करें। यही
देवचंद जी
आपका
बैठे हैं,
काम है।
अंशु जी
मैंने
बैठे
हम
हैं।
पार्टी
अरे,
के बारे में जान
तन्वी
नहीं
जी, आप moderate करिए, इनको बताइए, आप सही करिए
अरे
भाई।
आप भी किसी एक नहीं, आप क्यों बोल रहे हैं?
Atul Anjan, okay, 1 minute.
आप
Atul
क्यों बोल रहे
Anjan.
हैं चिराग पासवान के खिलाफ जब आपके नाम के पीछे पासवान लगा है?
अरे एक
why you
मिनट,
are talking all
आप
that?
Atul
Why you are
Anjan, let's
speaking
not
against
get
the
derailed.
Paswan? When
हिंदू
your name
मुस्लिम
is
की बात
referred
हो
to the
ही नहीं रही है
Paswan.
ना,
I just
बीजेपी
said
ने
H.
करी।
हम-
मुझे पर आप ये बात उठा क्यों रहे?
Why he has said it? Why
Where
he
has he said it?
casteism? Why he brought the no, Tanvi ji,
Atul
let
ji,
me speak. You don't
कितना
intervene.
बड़ा
No,
दुर्भाग्य
you just-
है, कितना
why
बड़ा
he
दुर्भाग्य
put the
तन्वी
caste?
जी।
And he said the derogatory
अरे-
word against the caste. I have not said. I have said.
पहले हिंदू
दुर्भाग्य
मुस्लिम का
आपका
आरोप
नहीं है,
लगाया,
ये आपका
derogatory word का
सौभाग्य है।
आरोप लगाया,
बाबा
फिर
साहब
ऐसी कुछ बोला है
अम्बेडकर का
क्या
नाम
हमने?
देखते हैं आप, और आपके
अरे बाप रे
देवरस जी ने
बाप।
बाबा साहब देवरस के बारे में क्या लिखा है? बाबा साहब अंबेडकर के बारे में देवरस आरएसएस में क्या लिखा है किताब में? बंच ऑफ थॉट में क्या लिखा है? आपके आज तक 3-7 साल पहले तक आपके आरएसएस प्रमुख क्या कहते थे बाबा साहब देवरस के बारे में? वो आप क्या भूल जा रहे हैं? अब आप बाबा साहब अंबेडकर कह रहे हैं, देवरस भूल जा रहे हैं। आप भूल जा रहे हैं प्रोफेसर राजेंद्र सिंह रज्जू भैया ने क्या कहा?
मैं अतुल अंजन, मैं कंफ्यूज हो रही हूँ यहाँ पे। आई एम श्योर गुरु पासवान कैन रिस्पॉन्ड टू योर क्वेश्चन, बट आई एम सॉरी, दिस इज नॉट द कॉन्वर्सेशन एंड नाउ आई एम कंफ्यूज अबाउट व्हाट आई आस्क्ड यू.
He will respond.
But what did I ask you? That has nothing to do with this
Tanvi,
conversation, what you're saying, Mr. Ranjan.
What
Let's
wrong I
talk
said,
about
I
the
said-
fact.
No. Last moment, listen, you don't want to listen. Last moment, Hum party and VIP party was taken away by the BJP. I have not said what is their caste. And he said, I am making a derogatory against the caste because they are the marginalized.
कैसी बातें कर रहे हो?
Who said it? Who given you right to say it? I am talking about a political party. At the last moment they joined BJP.
Atul ji,
that is your national reality.
Atul
that
ji,
is your celebrity. That is your organizational.
No, I
Atul ji,
think the
Huzur
reality
Ala.
is that you couldn't keep them with you. That's the point he was
Huzur,
making, that you couldn't keep your allies with you. They walked away.
No, I
It's
don't
not his
want-
problem, Mr.
I don't
Ranjan.
want to keep. No.
Tanvi,
If I
Atul ji-
don't keep, we
Huzur.
are a non-ethical party, but they are they are a party with a difference. They claim that they are a party with a difference. I have not said that I am a party with a
अरे
difference.
अतुल जी,
The
अतुल जी,
BJP says that they are a party with a difference.
अच्छा,
They
विनय
say
तिवारी
they
कुछ
think-
कहना चाह रहे हैं आपको?
नहीं, अतुल जी,
This is the
अतुल जी,
संस्कार.
अरे
This is the new political संस्कार.
हुजूर आला अतुल जी, आप लखनऊ से हैं, मैं भी लखनऊ से हूँ, सभ्यता का शहर है। आप इतना गुस्सा क्यों करते हैं? हमारे यहाँ तो सभ्यता चलती है, आपका भी वही शहर था ना। मेरा खाली
न हम गुस्सा
आप क्यों गुस्सा कर रहे हो?
गलत बात कहोगे,
उन्होंने हिंदू मुसलमान नहीं कहा।
जातिवादी बताओगे और आप अपने ही पासवान के खिलाफ चिथड़े उड़ा रहे हो और मुझे जातिवाद बता रहे हो।
अरे भाई, लेकिन
आप चिराग पासवान के खिलाफ
हम पार्टी और
एकदम
वीआईपी
डंडा
पार्टी
लेकर
कोई
घूम रहे
बच्चे
हो,
थोड़ी
पार्टी।
हैं कि वो टॉफी देके उनको अपने साथ ले गए।
आपको अधिकार
आप
है,
उनको
मैं
नहीं
कुछ
दे
नहीं
पाए,
कह
वो उनको उन्होंने
आपको
दे दिया
अधिकार है, आपको-
सम्मान, तो वो
आपको
चले गए।
अधिकार है कहने का।
ये पहली बार थोड़ी हो रहा है।
मैं बोलूं कुछ, तन्वी जी,
ठीक
अगर
है,
उनका हो गया हो।
अच्छा,
Actually, I am completely out of time on all accounts. I was trying to get the conversation back on track.
बैठा हूँ।
हाँ, 30 seconds to Guru Paswan. Yes, 30
नहीं,
seconds.
देखिए ऐसा है, तमाम
मैंने
तरह के
आपने बहुत पहले बोला हुआ है, मैंने तो मैंने टोटल आपके दो लोग जो बोल रहे हैं उसका 1/4 समझ लिया है।
अच्छा ठीक है,
आप
चलिए,
बोलिए, आप
अतुल
बोलिए,
जी।
आप बोलिए।
Okay, actually, you know what? Let's keep this conversation for another day. Guru Prakash, Paswan and Atul Anjan can come back We will have another conversation. I think we may be done with
5
Bihar,
seconds. Tanvi,
but we
5
still
seconds.
have a lot to talk about Bengal and the upcoming elections. I'm going to thank all of the panelists for joining us. Unfortunately, in the last few minutes, we did get a bit derailed. Here is what it is, viewers. As far as the impact on national politics is concerned, there is no denying that the BJP has only strengthened its position. You look at the results, even in bypolls that were conducted across 11 states, the only party that has emerged victorious in a larger scale is the BJP. From Madhya Pradesh, where Shivraj Singh Chauhan has strengthened his position, to Gujarat, where BJP has been in power for so long, and that's still not impacted their political fortunes, to even Uttar Pradesh, and of course in Bihar, where they are back in power with Nitish Kumar, albeit Nitish Kumar is a smaller player and the BJP as a stronger one. All of this just sets the stage for a more fiery battle as we now begin to see preparations for elections in West Bengal, in Assam and Tamil Nadu. The Congress party will have a tougher time if it seeks to ally itself with anybody, whether in West Bengal and Tamil Nadu. They will have a tougher time negotiating the number of seats they need to be performing at. And let's not keep in mind that whatever said and done, there has been a big boost to the left party, some signs of revival. Can they really use the lessons learned in Bihar and put them to any kind of use in West Bengal? That remains to be seen. Don't forget, in West Bengal, the key battle now has become TMC versus the BJP. Completely out of time. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.